Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the Mark and Macy Show. This is our 12th edition and our third or fourth time on Blab. Hey, Macy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Be honest. It's been a rough week, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, it's been a rough week, but it started off really well.
Yes, it did. If you follow us on Twitter, you're lucky enough to see that I spent my President's Day in New York City at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit launch. So that was pretty cool. What was even cooler was that I had a little bit of a behind the scenes look VIP type of, status. My roommate and best friend is actually a Sports Illustrated model. So, every time that she does this kind of stuff, I kind of go there to support her and just make sure everything runs smoothly and have her back. So got to hang out with the models.
So what exactly was going on? Like, it was this big media event and they were being interviewed, and did they have like a press conference and so forth?
No, it was actually open to the public. It was in New York City in a building not too far from Chelsea. And they could do autograph sessions. They would do kind of like a Q&A. They did the rookie Q&A. They did a couple different girls here and there. They had different sponsors throughout. So it was kind of girls, swimsuit models just throughout the building, of course, separated from the crowd, but you could still interact with them. So it was a really cool experience. I got to do it last year also in New York. So this was my second year getting to join her. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, her name's Samantha Hoops. Check her out. She's a great girl. She's a really down to earth. She might be a model, but I can tell you she's a real person. And that's what's so unique and so great about her is, she's like a sister to me. So it's really cool. And I'm blessed to be able to call her my best friend.
She's a Penn State girl.
Yes. She was my roommate at Penn State. That was kind of where our relationship grew, and we really got to know each other.
So you said that this was open to the public, but that people could not interact with the models?
No, you could. There was just, it's like roped off. So the models are on one side and you're on the other. Or you're, they're sitting behind a table and you're on the other side of the table getting an autograph.
Okay, so this is kind of a key question. I had to clarify that. This is kind of a key question for a lot of people out there. A lot of men out there, if they're anything like me, the rope kind of makes it a bit difficult for me to, it wouldn't necessarily be this kind of event that I would want to go to. But see, you had the behind the scenes, you had the VIP status, the whole deal. So.
Right. And I was there for a different reason rather than why a lot of guys would maybe go to this. But I was there, like I said, to support her and just be there for her and be part of the experience. And it's a lot of fun, and you get a chance to meet the other girls and their agents and their friends and their family and even the people who put the magazine together. It's such a great group of people. I wish I could be, more involved. They're just really, really cool.
I am guessing that you were complimented at least a few times throughout the day.
I was mistaken a couple times for one of the models, and I said, "You're not going to find me in there," but I can laugh about that. And just we kind of joked around. My brother went with me, and of course, he thought, it was the best experience ever, just hanging out with models all day. So it was cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. So that's the second year you've done that.
Yep. She invited me to Miami too, because that's where they are now doing the same thing, but I couldn't miss the show.
Oh no, you couldn't miss our show.
No, but actually, when I was with Sam, we were kind of just discussing the show, and she said she's seen my tweets about it and stuff, and she would love to be a guest on our show. So
that would be amazing.
We will have to plan that one week to have Samantha Hoops, Sports Illustrated model, guest model, Carl's Jr. commercial girl as one of our guests on the Mark and Macy show.
You got some Sonoris Moss. You get Samantha Hoops. You are just lining up the guests, aren't you? That would be amazing. You could have went to Miami on the show from there.
Yeah, I could have. I guess live broadcasted from Miami, but that would just be really tough for all of you guys to have to sit and watch me, have an awful time in Miami with Sports Illustrated swim models.
That would be a little rough. But I would grin and bear it, be a professional, and let you have your fun while I held down the anchor desk here.
So I have to say, on the side here, we have a comment from Penelope that Samantha Hoops got dumped by Russell Wilson. So it's kind of funny. She and Russell were good friends, just hanging out. I think it's funny that people relate that to her with Russell Wilson, just because there's one TMZ video. But, I don't know if I would say she got dumped by him.
Well, these days there's a camera everywhere. Everybody's got one in their pocket. So two good-looking people especially get together who are famous, and it's assumed that they're together. And that's the way it is. And so if they're no longer together, even if they weren't together, then somebody got dumped.
Of course. And that was right when he started dating Sierra. So, there's all that stuff about Russell Wilson and, Sam, and they're totally cool. Like, it's just amazing to see how much something gets blown up in the paparazzi spotlight like that, and to sit there and know the truth and know, the real side of it. So it's really interesting and cool to see.
Yeah, well, not to have you speak for her, but how does she handle all that? Because she has to live that kind of life where there are a lot of things said about her that probably aren't accurate and aren't the nicest things.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to be a supermodel for people to say bad things about you. I mean, people say bad things about me. People, I'm sure, have dissed you. People have dissed our show. So, you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. And like I said, Sam is a pretty real person, and she actually reads, all of the comments that are posted to her Twitter, that are posted on her Instagram, that are, posted because she wants to know what people are saying. And if there's a way she can maybe fix something that maybe people don't like, or whatever, she wants to do that because she wants to be liked by everyone. She's a real person, but, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone is going to think one person's pretty or not pretty. It's life. It's the world. And she handles it, professionally. And she just, like I said, in one ear, out the other.
Yeah, the internet's a mean place. It's very mean. And I don't know why people just can't okay, here's a beautiful woman. And I think 99% of the population would agree. For the 1% of the population, why they have to seek her out, go on Instagram. I'm even guessing that 1% of the population, or I guess it would be part of the 99%, really doesn't think that she's not good looking. They just are jealous, or for whatever reason, when people are elevated, other people like to knock them down. It's just the way people are, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's amazing how, people will even say things to me knowing that I'm friends with her. God, she's ugly, or this or that. And you're just like, she's in Sports Illustrated. I don't think she's ugly. So props to her for keeping her head up and just killing it out there. She's living the dream. She told people, when she was 12 years old, that she would be a guest model one day, and that's what she really wanted to do. And guess what? She's a guest model and more.
Definitely. And good for her. And again, if for whatever reason you don't think she's good looking, that gives you no license to go out and make mean comments. I'm not making comments to everybody who I don't think is good looking. That's crazy. And fortunately for me, not everybody's making comments to me that doesn't think I'm good looking, or that they probably wouldn't ever end. All right. We got pitchers and catchers out there, Macy.
Yes, finally, baseball is back, kind of. No, it's always exciting to see pitchers and catchers report. It doesn't really mean too much right now because it's still very, very early. We see kind of limited activity, but it's the start of something. So I'm very happy to see that. Before we know it, will be March, April, and baseball will be starting.
Yeah, that'll be good. I love baseball. Love baseball season, everything it represents, warm weather, good times, all that. So I am looking forward to baseball. Not a whole lot going on right now to talk about, but we will, and we'll have a full baseball season. Be talking some baseball and maybe probably a little disproportionate Mets coverage here. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But hey, if they take us through the kind of season that they did last year, hey, that would be great.
Absolutely. I thought it was really interesting, though, speaking about baseball. We do our weekly Twitter polls. And last week on our show, we actually talked about, on your ballpark hot dog, what do you prefer? You asked me ketchup or mustard. So we took to Twitter and we made that poll. And we said, on your hot dog, ballpark hot dog, you enjoy, and put ... We gave the options of ketchup, mustard, neither, or both. Now, obviously, we couldn't please everyone. We couldn't put any option. Twitter only limits us to 4. But surprisingly, mustard took the win with 37%. I'm very surprised. I think you put ketchup on a hot dog.
Mustard is the classic condiment to put on a hot dog.
See, I think it's ketchup.
Okay. The reason I thought of that last week, whatever we were talking about with baseball, and then it made me think about it, whatever subject we were on, because at work we got into this conversation and I walked the floor and talked to like 60 people, and I tallied. Yeah, this is what I do with my work time. I went around and I walked the floor and I tallied like 60 votes. Ketchup or mustard, and I accepted no other answer. I didn't go into all this other relish and garbage. Just ketchup and mustard. And ketchup won. Mustard, though, the mustard people are very, very adamant about mustard. They're hardcore because, you know, you've got the different kinds of mustard. You got the ballpark mustard that's kind of the real authentic mustard. And then you just have the standard mustard versus ketchup. Ketchup is ketchup. So I don't have a strong conviction either way. I just thought it was a decent poll, and we went with it.
No, it definitely was. I thought that was fun, and that was one of our highest interactions in our polls. So I thought that was really interesting. I personally would probably have to go chili dog, because that's probably the only time I eat a hot dog is with chili on it. But ketchup, I guess, is good. I like ketchup on pretty much everything. So
that was a hard call for me to make because I put ketchup and mustard on a hot dog. I put both on there, but if I could only put one, it would be mustard.
See?
I would go with the mustard. Okay, what other polls did we have going?
All right, so this week we had a couple good ones. We also had Best All-Star Saturday competition.
Okay, I think that's the one. I don't think you were doing your job. So what I did, Macy, was I jumped in there and I was like, I'm going to dive in with this because even though we talked about this last week and I just dissed all NBA All-Star competitions, the game, all of it. What do you think I did on whatever it was, Friday or Saturday night?
You made a poll.
My son loves the NBA. And I watched it, and I had a lot of interesting Twitter conversations during it. And the dunk contest is crazy. We talked about it last week. And I got to admit, Macy, you were more right than I was in that I said, even though these guys are freakish athletes, that it's just difficult to push the envelope anymore. Unless the guy can, like, hit his head up against the rafters, I don't know what else they can do. And it's the guy with the magic that should have won the contest.
Oh, Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon. I thought it was Eric Gordon who played for Indiana. But anyway, it turned out to be Aaron Gordon. That dunk where he raised his legs like almost equal to the net. I was impressed by that. I'm impressed by very little. I thought that was amazing. Yeah,
they were calling that the lazy boy. Because it looked like he was sitting on a boy recliner. And I think personally that should have won it. And I woke up even the next morning and my first thought, and I tweeted it out, Aaron Gordon should have won that. I mean, Zach LaVine, he's talented. Absolutely. He won it the year before. He showcased what he can do. He's amazing. But I think Aaron Gordon kind of showed talent and skill. In both of that, he kind of took it, and I think he should have walked away with it.
Hey, Macy, for the record, the next morning when I woke up, I was not thinking about Aaron Gordon myself.
I analyze sports too much, and that's what happens is something like that, I go to sleep and I just think like, wow, that should have ended differently, or this should have happened. And honestly, he should have won it, and he was still the talk the next day, and more people were talking about him than Zach LaVine. So, in my eyes, in my head, my heart, Aaron Gordon won that.
So I started to laugh when you started to mention this poll. You know why? Because I noticed the vote total, and I don't know if it was just a bad poll on my part, or like Macy's in charge of these polls. She does all the polls. They're great. They're creative. People respond. I jump in one time and I throw a poll out there. And I don't know if it was because it was bad timing, or it was just a lousy poll, or people somehow through osmosis knew Mark's sending this poll, so we don't really care.
No, I do take blame for that. I was so caught up in a game, and I even think my phone was charging because I killed the battery that quick. Just like going crazy about the NBA All-Star Weekend. So I do take the blame for that. So Twitter universe, I am sorry. I am human. I do make mistakes. And guess what? I'm not always on my phone. So
it totally hit me during this competition that why don't we have this poll out there to see what people like the best?
I know. We should have had winners. We could have had a whole variety of different polls going. So I do take the blame. I dropped the ball on that one.
Macy.
I know, right? But I do have to say, someone did tweet back at us. You said, what was the best All-Star Saturday competition? And someone said the Cooking Channel, which I think that just kind of shows where the NBA All-Star events have kind of led people to watching the Cooking Channel. So maybe that says something about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sports person and I really, really enjoy the NBA All-Star. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Analyst, you think it over and you get out there, and I don't know why you have me around, but especially during this dead season. So for me, this is a dead season. This is end of football and then beginning of baseball, and I'm like checked out of it now because of our little show that I want to do my best for. I will do much better than that, but this is kind of my dead season. So you're going to have to carry us until like the first or second week of April. And I know you're thinking, well, I've been carrying you for like 12 weeks now, but you're just going to have to do it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's always plenty to talk about. There's a lot going on in sports, and people are saying that as we're sitting here, but we don't want to give everyone, all the draft answers right now. We don't want to give fantasy sports. We don't want to talk about all that right now, because then what are we going to talk about once those sports are relevant? You want to talk about when those sports are relevant. That's when you want to talk about that stuff. So right now we'll find cool things to talk about going on in sports that maybe aren't the most trending things or, whatever, but that's what makes you different. And you don't want to be like everyone and talk about what everyone else is talking about right now. Let's find our own things and be Mark and Macy, right?
That's right. That's right. Do you play fantasy sports?
So I used to play all fantasy sports. Fantasy baseball was one of my absolute favorite. It kind of got hard to keep up with after a while, especially when covering sports. And then I kind of feel like, how can I cover a guy and have him on my team? And, it's you kind of get your pages mixed there. But I think I'm going to do it again this year. It really helps you to know a lot of the players, especially baseball. You really get to know a lot of the different players and a lot of their stats and this and that. So I will probably be doing fantasy baseball again this year.
I played fantasy baseball for a long time, loved it, but it's obviously kind of a grind. You got to keep up with it day to day, depending on the type of league that you're in. Some of them you set it on Sunday and you're good for the week, but other ones it's a day-to-day thing. So it can be a grind. And I played in some very serious leagues at work and with some pretty competitive people that were really, I'm surrounded by generally the smartest sports people that you could come across. So the last couple of years, I got really busy, and I take pride in doing well, and I want to compete. I want to win championships, and I just didn't give it the time and attention. And one year I finished last, and I said, I'm out. I'm not playing anymore. I'm done. And I haven't played since. That was like 5 years ago, maybe something like that. I don't know.
Well, maybe we should do fantasy baseball for Mark and Macy.
We could do that.
Let's do it. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all, if we want to get some viewers to jump in and be a part of our team too and compete against us, let's do it.
I love it. I will do it in a heartbeat. It's just, I want to do it well.
You know what my favorite part about fantasy sports is?
The draft.
No, coming up with the most creative name.
Okay, that we
have to have a good team name.
Yeah, see, you're right there. So what's the best team name you can think of that you've come up with?
I've got two.
Yeah.
One, you're definitely going to, put your earmuffs on and walk away.
There we go.
For fantasy football, the best name I ever came up with was Tie My Bow, because I'm a chick, but I capitalized Tebow in it. Yeah.
You knew that was going. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
So that was one of my favorites because it kind of represents like, hey, I'm a chick, but I'm still going to beat you. And it's got Tebow in it. And then for fantasy baseball, the best name I ever had was, it sounds so inappropriate. And it's amazing what you can do with just athletes' names. I had Wright in my Pedroia.
Okay.
I mean, David Wright, big Mets.
Was that all by yourself you came up with that?
That was all on my own, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm all about the creative names. I think that's what makes it fun.
I am discovering a little bit more about you in every week. I just didn't think you were quite there to think you had that in you, but I was wrong.
Yep. And so many people laughed at that name. And I like Pedroia. I like David Wright. It just works. Sometimes it just clicks and you say that's it.
People come up with great names, but I don't know that I've heard one better than that. It's pretty damn good. Oh man, I'm not even going to mention my team's names now because they don't even. I played fantasy baseball for a long time, and I cannot think of one name except for one. You're not going to have any reference to what this means, but I'll explain it when I get done. Pretty Girls and Waffles. And you will have no idea. So I named it this. I don't know why I came up with this, but it is the title of an episode of one of my favorite shows called Ed. And I just thought it was a cool name. And so I threw it out there. It means nothing, has nothing to do with baseball. Pretty Girls and Waffles. It was just one of my favorite episodes. So I said, I'm going with it. And I played forever, and that's the only name I can remember. I can't remember my other names. And I thought I came up with some decent names. But yeah, so you might be in charge of the poll, the this, the that, and the fantasy baseball team name.
Yeah, no, we can totally do fantasy baseball. So everyone that's with us now, be sure to check back with us once it comes time for that. It should be kind of soon, actually.
Yeah.
So we'll start getting that going. And I think that will be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll make it a little competition. It'll be a long one, but
this is going to get me into baseball again because you know what I've hated the last couple of years is I've done this whole YouTube thing with college football, and I love baseball. Like people at work consider me a baseball guy because I love baseball. I started this college football thing, and I will sit here on certain nights and I'd be doing all this college football crap in the middle of July, and I got like the baseball network on, but I don't pay attention to it. And like I've kind of missed the last two baseball seasons. So this will get me into it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been in love with the game of baseball. And in college, I never got to watch really anything on my TV because I lived with other girls. So it was always the E! Network, Bravo, whatever those other channels are. So I was always streaming sports on my computer. And, instead of watching some of those shows or whatever they would watch, I would watch, I don't say the most relevant baseball game, but a baseball game that didn't matter to me. And I could watch that go into 22 innings before I would sit and watch that TV. That's just the way I am. I can't sit and watch a movie, but I could sit and watch 22 innings of a baseball game and not even be bored. And it goes by like that for me. So I love, love, love baseball. I love going to baseball games. I love watching baseball on TV. I love playing baseball in the backyard. Baseball is where my heart is.
I could speak for so many guys right now, Macy, in terms of what you just had to say about yourself. And yeah, a girl that likes baseball, loves it, will watch it.
You'd be surprised, though. Guys are pretty intimidated by that.
Why be intimidated by it? So you might know a little bit more than me.
You'd be pretty surprised. I never would really bring up on a date, my fantasy baseball name. Most of the time, they wouldn't even get it.
Well, then if they don't like baseball, that's one thing. But if they're into baseball and you just so happen to do some work in the industry and know a little bit more, or stump them on some trivia, big deal.
Yeah.
My intelligence can take
it's kind of weird,
I guess, but yeah. Now, see, I'm the same way. I pretty religiously, on some random day late in the baseball season, I just take a day off work, whether I'm sick or otherwise. And we'll just, because I'm like, baseball season's almost over. And especially the last couple of years, because I've been too busy to get involved in it. And I'm just like, okay. And I'll look on like a random Thursday afternoon and look at the lineup, and there's, a ton of games at noon, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I'm like, you know what? I'm zoning out on the couch and I'm going to watch baseball today. And most of these games are irrelevant. They don't matter. These teams are out of it. I don't care. I'm just going to hang out and watch baseball. It's going to be great.
No, I totally understand. I can say first time I ever visited ESPN Studios, I saw the set of Sports Center. There was like an NFL Live. It was exciting. But I walked onto the set of Baseball Tonight and I started crying. Pedro Gomez was sitting there and it was everything to me.
Well, considering I've given many tours on the set of Baseball Tonight, it would have been inappropriate for me to start crying when I was giving like a corporate tour. But so I haven't had that kind of reaction, but I'm impressed. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, there's just something about it. I mean, following pretty much baseball, once a game's over, I flip to ESPN, watch Baseball Tonight, see what they have to say. It's very peaceful and calming to fall asleep to. I like to listen to it while I'm sleeping. It's how I get so smart. And, it's just, there's nothing better, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. There's not many of you out there. There's
no. Because my mom says if she sees it on one more TV, she's taking away all of the remotes.
Yeah, I've had women just tolerate it for a long time. So anyway, yeah, baseball and football the same way. People are shocked. Fantasy football. I've never played fantasy football, and I love football, but for whatever reason, I never got into fantasy football. But I have people asking me all the time for advice on their draft, and I'm like, I've never played, and they find that hard to believe. So we're kind of committed to a baseball league, fantasy league.
100%. I think it will be good for all of us.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's good for us.
It's good for you.
Okay. That's very cool. So did we get through our polls? Is that all?
Well, no, I got to log back in. Let's see what else we had. Pitchers and catchers report today. Yay or too early for MLB? The Yay ran away with that one, so that was exciting to see. And I think that was our last one.
Okay. You know, it hit me this week, Macy. We had this discussion like a month ago or whenever the Powerball was through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the Powerball that week. And I went and played the Powerball. I don't know if you did, but we talked about it.
Yep.
And it only hit me 4 or 5 days ago that I never checked my ticket, which of course I knew I didn't win big. But I checked my ticket and I was a winner.
Wow.
$12, baby.
Congratulations.
There it is. The big winner from the Powerball.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
I've been waiting for a couple days to show that off.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Sad. Yeah. All right. We're going to do some baseball fantasy. That's going to be very cool. What do you think of Marshawn Lynch? Do you have any thoughts about Marshawn Lynch? So I brought this up before we started recording that Jared Allen announced his retirement. Defensive end, Minnesota Vikings, Carolina Panthers, guy that plays with his hair on fire, and he's got a lot of it most of the time. And I think he's really good. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. We could get into that discussion. I don't think that's a really good one. The better one is Marshawn Lynch. Should he make the Hall of Fame? I don't expect you to come up with a decisive answer right out of the gate because we don't know stats or anything else. But what made me think of it as well is that Terrell Owens got dissed in his first attempt at the Hall of Fame. Many people believe that it was a media-related thing because of his issues with the media. And Marshawn Lynch, we could put him in the same category as a guy that didn't necessarily not get along with the media. He didn't get along with the media, or he didn't have an opportunity not to get along with the media because he just didn't talk.
Yeah, in typical Marshawn Lynch behavior, I should say here, you know why I'm here. Because that's what he would always say. So, Marshawn Lynch retiring, I'm pretty sure I might be wrong, but at least the first time I saw the official announcement was actually during the Super Bowl. He tweeted it out. So I thought that was pretty interesting and kind of a bold move for him to do. Obviously, Twitter was a very popular place at that time. It was the right time to be on the internet, and he tweeted a simple a picture of cleats hung up over, like a wire or whatever those street things are, and that was what he posted, and that's all that was put out, and everyone got that message that he was done and hanging up the cleats. So I thought that was very creative on his point, especially since he's a man of not many words. Do I think he's Hall of Fame material? I don't think so.
Penelope's making a lot of disparaging comments about Marshawn Lynch not being Hall of Fame worthy either. My defense of Marshawn Lynch would be, I don't have the stats right in front of me. 10,000 yards is kind of a mark for running backs, but let's put this thing into context. Okay, there was a time in the NFL when guys like Walter Payton, Tony Dorsett, Eric Dickerson, Franco Harris, they played a long, long time, and they weren't just the primary back. They were the only back that was on the field. They carried the ball a lot. They were durable. They played a long time, put up ungodly numbers. That doesn't happen so much anymore. There's almost like Terrell Davis was almost kind of the model for the newer back who unfortunately can't stay in the league very long. He gets worn out, gets beat up. And if there's a window of greatness, and this is the disclaimer for Terrell Davis, who many believe should be in the Hall of Fame. He won a Super Bowl MVP. He won 2 Super Bowls. He had 2 great Super Bowl games. And he had like 4 years that are just off the charts, including a 2,000-yard season. But generally, Terrell Davis, if you look at just the raw totals of the numbers over a very short career, they're not outstanding. But at his peak, he was great. And Marshawn Lynch is somewhere in that category as well. A little bit longer career. Maybe the peak is not quite as impressive, but maybe he gets the ball at the 1-yard line and wins a second Super Bowl. It didn't happen, but he won a Super Bowl before that, performed very well in that game with over 100 yards. He was a dominant back for a short period of time and went to 2 Super Bowls. So he will get some consideration, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough decision, and you got to look at things now, like you said, with the media and Terrell Owens, and it kind of gives you a different perspective of that person and what kind of person they are than more than just an athlete. And sometimes that might sway your decision. If the media wasn't a big thing and T.O. Was going through all those crazy T.O. moments, maybe it wouldn't have been broadcasted the same way. Maybe not too many people would have heard about it except for local people. And maybe that would have changed the decision on whether or not he gets voted in or not. Same thing with Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch decided not to talk to the media, especially during the Super Bowl week. Then he does one-liners. Then he says this and that, and he makes kind of a show for himself. I think it was kind of smart on his part. He's a smart guy. He's never spent a dime of any of the money he's ever made from the NFL, which is amazing. So he finds smart ways to draw attention to himself by doing the press conference and saying, why I'm here, or, all of his other fun one-line phrases. So it will be interesting to see what the outcome is for him, but I don't think he's Hall of Fame material.
People out there should let that sink in, what you just described. And I've heard the same thing. And if it's true, Marshawn Lynch has kept every check he's ever earned in the NFL. Yep. And he has saved them, or whatever he's done with them, he has not lived off them. I don't know how this is possible for a guy who grew up in the projects, but he's figured it out. He's lived off endorsements, Penelope tells us, which I wouldn't think that he would have had many coming into the league, but he's made it work, and it's to his credit. That when you see a feature like, I don't know if you've seen this show, Broke, that ESPN produced a couple of years ago about athletes mishandling money and the situations they get themselves into despite earning all this money, that it's amazing. Here you got a guy complete opposite end of the spectrum who has lived a pretty subdued lifestyle, and you would think he would be the type guy, just to look at him and hear him talk, that would, when he does talk, that would be blowing money. But no, he's been extremely wise and cautious and done the right things.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I don't think there's too many people, or really anyone, who can say that they've done something like that. So hats off to him for that. But he's had a pretty good amount of endorsements. He's been with I forget what it's called. There's like this group. It's a whole bunch of different athletes, and I think it's Floyd Mayweather and all these like groups of athletes, and they pretty much get sponsored just for wearing clothing and shoes and hats and all of that. And he probably made a decent amount of money off of that, which is something you can live off of. Plus, I know he does Pepsi commercials, Skittles. He's made a good amount of money that I guess I can see why he hasn't spent a dime of his NFL money.
Our show is Mark and Macy. We come your way every Thursday night, usually around 6:30 or some other time, depending on what's going on in our lives. But it's always on Thursday night, and every so often we do something else and provide some other content. So please check us out on YouTube. We've got our YouTube channel there, Mark and Macy. And we are also on Twitter, where you can join our polls a few times a week and interact with us, and we'll talk some sports, and it's a lot of fun. So Macy, what do you think?
Yes, I just want to say one thing before we wrap up for the night. This weekend is, as a Penn State graduate, it is Thon weekend, which, if you're not familiar with Thon, it's a 46-hour dance marathon that the students participate in. For 46 hours straight, they dance, and they don't sit. They don't pretty much do anything else besides dance. And it's all to raise money for pediatric cancer. They have gone canning all year. They've done basically every type of fundraising and everything else they do. Last year, they raised $13 million, so they're looking to beat that every year. And I just want to send my best of luck to all of those Penn Staters who have been working really, really hard to work for a great cause, and it, like they're saying, FTK for the kids. So hats off to you guys. Best of luck to you. We're all rooting for you. If you guys can go out and donate, it's always great. Thon.org. It's really, really a great, organization to be involved with. And I wasn't big time involved, but I was part of Thon as a Penn State student. So this weekend always means something to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. Something I just learned about a few minutes before we came on. That's very awesome. Dancing for 46 hours. Why 46? Do we know?
46 hours. I forget what the two. It's making me look bad, Mark. No, I don't remember exactly why it's 46. Everything. I know. My brain can only handle so much.
I love to dance. I can't dance. I'm not going to say that I can dance, but I love to dance. But 45 minutes is probably about my max on the dance floor, or at least these days.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing. And there's a great video. It's a 2015 recap of Thon. And I'm going to post it on my Twitter. So if you don't know what I'm talking about or want to learn more about it, take the 3 minutes that the video is to watch. And I promise you'll walk away with goosebumps, because it's amazing what they do to pull this together, and how much goes into it to help others, just to help kids with cancer, and to make sure that kid can live a full life, and make sure that when they're sick, their parents don't have to pay a single dime towards that. I actually lost a good friend this year from Penn State to cancer, and she was a Thon dancer. She was all of that. So this is why we do it for people like her, for younger kids that some don't even live to see the age of 5, So we want to help everyone that we can and fight cancer and stop it at such a young age. Well
said. We've all been affected in some way by a close friend, family member, or someone else that's in our realm of living that has suffered from that disease. And anything we can do to further the research and the technology in dealing with it is amazing. So absolutely. Joining us, Lou, first day on Blab. Lou, please join us next week. Jump on YouTube, join our channel, our Twitter page, Mark and Macy. That's, of course, Macy. I'm Mark. That had to be stated. It's our YouTube channel. Again, Mark and Macy. We need subscribers, and we want to interact. So it's not all about we're putting on our show and watch our show. We want some interaction, some engagement. Let us know what you would like us to talk about in the world of sports. And as you can tell, over the last half hour, 45 minutes, we kind of drift off into some other things, but it all starts with sports, and that's what we love. So join us on Twitter as well, at Mark and Macy Show, and you will find us there. All right. See you next time.